Hey, Jesper here. We're back, and I have Robert on the line. And today we have a question. What is the difference between a classic real estate investment trust, a REIT, versus real props NFT as a fund and structure? And I will let Robert start on that one, and then I will join in after. Thank you, Robert.
Absolutely, Just with your background in institutional investing and banking and the NFT technologies, I definitely want you to polish off my answer here because you've got such a depth of knowledge in that area. But basically, a traditional real estate investment trust is a large publicly traded fund where you buy a share in it. And a lot of them, by the way, are tax driven. There's a lot of tax benefits. That's why people buy them, not only for a somewhat of return, but for some tax benefits for some of these funds. You buy them, and they have a big portfolio, usually lower returns. Sometimes they're happy to get 4, 5, 6, or 7. They've done better than that or worse than that, depending on the fund. There's usually a commission to get in, a commission to get out. And there's also a lot of limitations in that once you own it, you may not be able to sell it, or you may not get your cash out as quickly. So they're not for everybody. They're kind of for the long-term, slow investor, not so liquid sometimes. Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. And they're kind of bigger, slower to move. And Jesper, I'd love to have your input on what we're doing.
So we started building Real Prop. I really looked into REIT, and I call them trophy investors because I see you have the Empire State Building. There's a REIT behind it on the public stock exchange. If you look at the numbers, it's horrific. I mean, look at other REITs. I don't see the performing super well. Quite shockingly, maybe it's the management companies behind looking more for trophy buildings, easier to manage. And I think that's a fundamental difference from a REIT versus a real estate NFT. So as you said, you have to go through a broker. The bank or the broker will hold your certificate. So the ownership sits with a third party. While with a real estate NFT, a category more or less we coined, Robert, together, right? It's your ownership. You own it. It's always yours. You can transfer it to your children. Nobody will know. You just send it. It's easy. And it's in your safety, or you can hold it in custody in a decomposed Swiss military bunker in the mountains in a safe where you need a notary to access them. And they can be sent to you anytime you wish. And you don't even have to have the responsibility to hold your keys for the Web3 wallet. I think that's brilliant. The second part is, with your expertise since 1994 and your huge network that you brought onto Real Prop, building up the team, we are getting a different way of looking at deals than probably a lot of these REIT, because we're not trophy investors. We are, as you call it, profit pump, or pump sounds wrong, but I would call it, we focus on cash flows for the investors to provide dividends. And also we focus on long-term appreciation to create overall the strongest shareholder value we can do. And I think about NFT is the same as owning a share in a public traded company. The NFT is just the mechanical device that proves that you own the share. That's the major difference in my eyes.
And as you've told me, that NFT is kind of the new way. That's why I'm so excited about it, because it's on the blockchain, it's liquid, you can sell it, and again, all the protections that you have of the blockchain. Also, just to educate people a bit on the big REITs. A lot of them are niches. Like, for instance, there was the big shopping center REIT. They did well for a few years when shopping centers were popular, and then it kind of went way down as a lot of shopping centers got in trouble. A lot of them are niches, trophy buyers, as you say, and some of them are good for like a low, kind of safer, boring return, not so much on the appreciation. Some have done well, some have not. But I kind of call them the big dinosaurs of investing, where the NFT is kind of the new exciting way, something that's really the new frontier of how to get in and out quickly, if you'd like, of wealth. Also something that we can do with the NFT that I've never seen done with a fund or REIT or bank is we're adding the community aspect and the educational training aspect to it, where at least once a month we'll meet with the entire community and we'll answer questions like this. We'll show exactly what we're doing, be transparent, and educate the community, whether beginner investors, intermediate, or advanced, on what we're doing, how we're doing it, kind of all the latest, greatest NFT, Web3 techniques as you teach, Jesper, and know about, and all the latest, greatest real estate investing techniques that Real Prop knows. And we're going to teach you what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. So not only can you invest in profit, but I think the best investment is in yourself, in educating yourself on how the NFT works, how the real estate works, while you're making money.
I agree. And talking about the future, NFTs and Web3 is replacing a lot of things like fundraising, which we're doing here for the fund. And I'll give you an example. I was a few weeks ago to the biggest private equity conference in Switzerland, and you can buy shares based on tokenization. In most companies in Switzerland, they are not going on the stock exchange anymore. They're tokenizing the company either as an NFT or a token. So you see smaller mid-sized companies, you can suddenly buy into them. And this is definitely the future. And when I was at the conference, the head of the two stock exchanges in Switzerland, he talked about an example. There was an investor potential meeting at a brewery in Geneva. And they invited, I think it was 300 people to the brewery. Everybody was having a couple of beers. And then they put a big QR code up and say, hey, scan this one if you want to invest. You can pay with crypto. They raised $1.8 million in 10 minutes. Just an example. This is the future, right? And we're backing it by real assets and by allowing people in countries where they might not have a bank, they now have the option to invest in US real estate through us. So it's truly opening the boundaries for the world to preserve wealth and create wealth and cash flows to people, no matter where you are.
Yeah, kind of the investing revolution. We're at the beginning of it.
Yeah. Robert, thank you so much for joining in today, as always.
Thank you, Jesper.